podcast. You guys are the creative dynamos behind Honey Gold. And as I understand it, you guys are multimedia artists and you've got a lot going on under the hood in addition to events that are coming up in Louisiana, in California. Can you give our listeners and viewers a little preview of the goodies that you have in the works and what you got going on in terms of your creativity and your multimedia approach?
Absolutely. So first thing coming up is next Thursday, June 25th, here at Baton Rouge's historic Old State Capitol. We have an event for the local crowd, another immersive audiovisual journey where we're going to have projection mapping on the stained glass and accentuating around it, and we'll be there in the legislative chambers, right?
In the House chamber.
The House chamber, yeah.
Yeah. So the Louisiana's Old State Capitol is a beautiful historical building. It looks kind of like a mix between a church and a castle for those who haven't ever seen it before. I know this is going to go out to viewers in different places. And it's beautiful. It was built in the late 1800s and it has really high cathedral ceilings and big stained glass window. And we're excited to do our thing in this space because we've been playing around with what it's like to adapt our immersive audiovisual show for unique and historical places. And so this is just a really special honor to be able to offer the experience in that venue.
Sounds like a great place for a rave.
Yeah. I don't think that they would allow that, but it's a nice idea.
And your art is a little bit similar in that you got some multimedia things going on. So you do projection visuals, you've got live performance.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your approach? What exactly is Honey Gold?
Well, I think Sariah can start with where it began for her years ago.
Yeah, Honey Gold it's an interesting project because it brings together all of the things that I've been dabbling with throughout my adult life, like through early 20s all the way up until now. And then, meeting Taylor and having similar interests, and then, adding him to the mix, it really helped me realize a vision that I've had for a long time. And so the background is really in experimental video and audio art, like in my early 20s in the rave scene in San Francisco and Los Angeles. You got really into like the new budding immersive audio visual and laptop music and video scene. And so that was a big part of my life for a while. And then eventually got into working at the technology companies in the Bay Area, Avid, M-Audio, Native Instruments, these technology companies. And through that, I started to burn out. and that's what led me to the meditation and coaching and breathwork and healing work stuff that I got involved with. So Honey Gold is a combination of those things. It's a meditative musical journey that takes the intention that I've always had of creating spaces for people to wake up and feel better, along with love for technology and video. And then with Taylor involved, he brings his musicianship, which is quite expansive. He plays multiple instruments and is just really amazing at figuring out technology really quick on the fly. We've been doing that for these upcoming shows. We're having to learn some new software and gear to make them happen in the way that we need to. So it brings together musicianship and intentionality for creating spaces and music and video, and really the intention is love.
Right. And for the music, it is just me at the moment, doing most of the instrumentation. So to do that all live, it's been all looped live, and we've been getting into playing with some new software, like Ableton, for instance, is new for me, but she's a veteran at that one, and it's a new medium for playing music for me that has been fun to explore. With what I've always done, I'm a bass player primarily, but I started on cello and I play guitar and drums and didgeridoo, and I like making experimental noise as well, but haven't had as many opportunities to really go for it the way that I've always wanted to. And it was a really serendipitous matchup that we both had an element we could bring to this project, and adding in like the visual side of it just made it more immersive and something greater than we even originally planned.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this started the. By the way, I want to give a shout out to our incredible visual team. So, the visual art is not just us. We're not doing everything, the two of us. We need a team, and we need to expand our team to be able to really fully realize the vision as we move forward. So we have a creative director, Taylor Stoma, and a visual artist, Ryan Golden, who are supporting the experience with their talents and video creation and video art and mapping and all that good stuff. So they have really made this help. They're helping this project evolve in a good way.
I'll put links below in the description. You've got some samples on your website as well as kind of teasers.
Right.
And what I saw and liked about it is that it really has a focus on calmness and meditation and chilling out. So we've experienced multimedia and live performance art together going all the way back. I mean, Grateful Dead. I have a friend who invited me to a Fish show in New York a few years ago, and that kind of blew my mind. So you've got live music, you've got audiovisual, you've got this blend or pastiche of all this stuff going on. But I get your take as being unique in terms of your focus and your intentionality for bringing that sense of calm and meditation. Do I read that right? That you're really out there to calm people, heal them? We're oversaturated now with media. Everyone's on their phone, doom scrolling 24/7.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we live in a very divisive world right now. It's really intense and overwhelming, and I think a lot of folks just don't even have the tools or ability to understand what's happening and process how it's affecting our nervous systems. And music and art and spaces of creativity are a great way to bring people of all different backgrounds together under one roof in one place to connect through their humanity, their human experience. And that's really our intention with Honey Gold, is to create a neutral space that anyone can come and feel good and reset and renew themselves and renew their nervous system through the music and the visuals and just the experience as a whole. And I also just want to say, like, we're not healing anybody. Like, it's really about holding a space for people to heal themselves and let go of all the noise and the overwhelm and all the stuff that's in the field that they deal with every day, and remember just the basics of innocence and childlike wonder and love and connection, and that there's a lot that we can get to renew ourselves through remembering that those are like our birthright.
I think everyone needs that kind of salve. And in watching your little teasers, I got that feeling of chillaxing. Music is meditative. The visuals are not overwhelming. It's not like a kinetic EDM show,
right?
with the laser blasts and all that stuff.
Really not so. Yeah.
It's quite the opposite of that. And I also noticed certain themes or stories when you were putting it together. How did you structure it, and how did you coordinate the music with the visuals? And what was your intent in terms of the vignettes that you constructed?
We wanted to tell a story through the visuals as well as the music that, can both be enjoyed, but they go together essentially. And it wasn't a part of the initial idea for the project, so it came almost out of like creative necessity. We had the opportunity to incorporate it for our first performance.
Yeah.
And we realized we didn't just want to have the EDM visuals. We wanted something with more intentionality, something with a story that would help guide what the music was saying. So as far as the journey goes, we structure it around starting off with that like chaotic sense of what people are usually walking into the room, maybe feeling a little bit of from their day or their lives, and trying to ease people out of that into a more relaxed state, get them back in touch with themselves. Their inner child is a real central part of it.
Yeah.
And finding like that calm, loving, rejuvenating light within,
Yeah.
And it is within you.
Yeah. And the visuals that, we originally were going to do this in a yoga studio here. And then that organization presented us to the local arts council, and they have a black box theater. And suddenly it became a way bigger of a deal than us just in a yoga studio singing some songs. And I thought, well, let's play around with this idea of doing some visual art. And we have a friend that does video mapping, and I was like, hey, you want to do this? Here's my ideas. And he's like, yeah. He got busy on some other projects, and then suddenly we were kind of in the seat, like sourcing content from the Internet Archive. I don't know if anybody knows this, but you can get all kinds of cool visual stuff from the Internet Archive. And just had a whole session, sat on this couch with our laptops, looking through tons and tons of videos, and then looking through our own videos of like places that we visited that make us feel good, that tell a story of how we care for ourselves and what we love. And I ended up learning Premiere, I swear, in like 2 weeks, and created a lot of the visual collages that you see as the backdrop to the like trippy overlay stuff, which is what our visual artist was doing. But the collages really came from us like connecting with videos that help tell the story and, showed places that we really care about. And, I'm not some editing wizard, but the heart was there, the intention was there. And so it feels good that you actually noticed that there's a story that's being told. You're the first person that's been like, oh yeah, I noticed you're telling a story with these visuals.
I think the subtlety is good and smooth. You don't want a 2x4 between the eyes, with a point of view or some ideology. It's more like taking people
Right.
on a journey.
Right.
And it's got a trance-like atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
So it brings the brain waves down, it draws focus, and it is chillaxing. And it sounds like that's really your intent to do that.
Right. And it's intended to be that way for anybody, like those who might not be seeking this type of stuff out, from the get-go. There's people far more into the meditative, chillaxing side of things than others, and we want it to be accessible to anyone, and they get out of it what they're going in trying to get out of it. So you can enjoy it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, some people might come for the relaxation of it. Some might come for the trippy visuals of it, and get something they didn't expect, or maybe they don't know what to expect. But coming and enjoying some nice music and visual art that gives you the space to kind of come to your own conclusions and feel your own feelings versus going into like maybe like one of my breathwork sessions where you're being guided to breathe and let go, and like that's a lot for some people. They're like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but they can
more
come
direct.
Yeah, they can come and just relax and have their own experience with the music and the visual art.
Tell us a little bit about your first trial. You mentioned kind of like a beta launch of this. You guys did one already. Did you get learnings from that and apply it to this one? How did that go? What were some of the reactions?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the reactions have been overwhelmingly positive, especially from people who found themselves there either by, suggested by someone they know, or for whatever reason we've had people like, I had no idea what this was and just decided to come, and they were blown away. And that's always really nice, because the people that go there to get the experience that is like kind of intended, I love that they have a good time too. I just want the people that might happen upon it to just have as good a time. And it's been great. Each performance has been, I'd say, better than the last.
Like you asked about like the lessons learned, and one thing that I can share that's like a little vulnerable maybe from our side of things is that going through the process of creating Honey Gold, an experience for people to heal and relax and and feel better, we get put through our own experience of healing every time. Every show that we're preparing for, we're having to like confront our inner child and our vulnerabilities and insecurities and feelings, and feel them and let them go and remain in a positive place. So that's been a really interesting kind of experience of us. I don't know, it's like a what do they call it, a fractal. It's like the experience is kind of folding in on itself and regenerating, and we're a part of that, and we're going through the journey as well. So that's been wonderful and challenging, and like all the things that something like that might be.
Hey, beat me to the punch. I was going to ask you how all this makes you feel, being the performance artist, putting it together and then sharing it. So to your point, it's kind of like a fractal, or it's meta in its own way, that you guys are doing all the vibes, and the vibes are coming back at you, and then you feed it back to the audience.
Right. Yeah. It's like all the stuff we work through in the process of writing these songs and practicing them, and figuring out the best way to perform them, because we started out from a place where we weren't going to need as much of the technological side of things to aid it along, and it quickly grew in a way that, to present it in the way that's necessary, I think we need to incorporate more technology to allow me to be able to make a whole bunch of music by myself at the moment, without the aid of a whole symphony, which is kind of what we're trying to do, basically. And it's been a learning experience in that way a lot. It's a lot of frustrations just trying to do this right.
Yeah. And then there's relationships. We're in a romantic relationship, but now we have this creative partnership that's kind of like having a business together, which requires extra thoughtfulness and attention to the way that we communicate with each other, and compartmentalizing time for like music and work, and then relationship time has been a big growth edge for us. So yeah.
I've had various guests who are couples. So I've got a science fiction and fantasy writers podcast. I've got another writers podcast, and a business podcast. And I've had various guests who are romantically involved, husband, wife, creative partnerships. I've spoken with identical twins who are co-writers.
Oh, wow.
And there's a cool dynamic. I'm an only child, so I'm always drawn to people who have tight partnerships in whatever format. And I can really appreciate that. I can appreciate both the opportunities that come out creatively where you complement each other and your skill sets. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's challenging in its own way too, where the different worlds are coming together, business, art, everyday domestic living, right? It could get complicated.
It can, and it's all a learning experience, and we, like I said, we have to go through it before we can even like present that opportunity for other people to kind of go through it on their own if they wish, in a much different way. I mean,
Yeah, it's coming from lived experience. I can
right,
say that.
right.
We didn't go to some sound healing class and take a course and decide that we were going to do sound baths. I mean, really, the music is it comes from lived experience. It comes from years of that self-healing, helping other people feel better and heal themselves, and then coming together and writing music together that is a part of our self evolution and healing as a couple and as a creative partnership. That's all that is in the show. So you know so far it's been received really well and people can feel it, and that feels good. you know um One of the interesting things that happened in the first show was uh, on just an intuitive whim, I decided to invite the folks from the Louisiana Arts and Science Center, Irene Pennington Planetarium. I just got the idea. I was driving in my car and I was like, okay, well, let me look up the curator. And I invited her, and she couldn't make it. And she sent one of her, uh, a lady that was on her team. And during the first show, there was this woman in the back just having a really positive, like she was just having a really beautiful experience. I could tell because most people were laying down and she didn't get there in time to get a lay down spot. She was in a seat. And I remember thinking, like, wow, like she's just having such a wonderful time. And it turns out that she was there from the Irene Pennington Planetarium, and they invited us to adapt the show for their dome. And so we're like, whoa, like we don't know how to do that, but yeah, yes, okay, like, and so the other thing that we're doing is that's evolved, right? So we've we are in the process of raising money for the creation of a full dome immersive experience, and we've been lucky enough to be sponsored by the local Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. They're our fiscal sponsor, so we can take tax deductible donations to create that film. And so we have these new challenges ahead of us where we're taking our live show and we're going to adapt it for the dome, and we're offering that in October 3rd, and then simultaneously creating like a proprietary dome film that can be shown in dome theaters all over the United States, hopefully, and beyond.
Very cool. It's got this bespoke, improvisational, very peer-to-peer quality, right? Like on the one hand, you've got a vision,
Yeah.
but on the other, you're just kind of winging it.
Yeah,
And a lot of it,
totally.
a lot of it's based on just relationships and kind of building it as you fly it, right?
That's
I
a
like
really
that.
good way to put
I
it.
like that hashtag DIY kind of feeling to it.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
that.
Hashtag DIY is definitely that.
That's great because it comes out like you were saying. If you've got exuberance and creativity and you're kind of winging it, then the audience receives that spontaneity. And when
Yeah,
you are talking about, go ahead.
giving other people permission to wing it, is important. Like, people think they need to be perfect or do things perfectly or have it be some kind of way, and sometimes we just have to wing it.
That fits your theme,
Yeah.
which is the chillaxing. We live our lives with all these demands, like family and friends and jobs. The world's going ape shit, and
Yeah.
it's stressful.
Yeah.
And if you let it go, then you embrace a little bit of chaos and a little bit of improvisational uncertainty. And if your show is wired together with that spirit, I think it captures that and it projects it out so people can tap into it.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what they were liking about your first shows, which is they were connecting with you and your ideas, and they were feeling better about it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Tell us about who was in the crowd and who you're anticipating for the upcoming shows. Is this generational? Is it gender focused?
Oh.
Who's grooving on your grooving?
Well, that's part of the amazing thing about it. We're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, not typically known for its, incredible open-mindedness when it comes to new forms of art or things, but I like to push back on that myself, and I think the people here are a lot more willing to experience these things than they might seem on the surface. So at the shows, it's still been surprising, uh, but not so much. Like we've got everyone that you can imagine,
whole mix
showing up.
Yeah, pretty mixed group of young people all the way through to elder folks, and we really want that, like a multicultural mix of people of different ages and backgrounds. And there's the stereotype around anything that's labeled like wellness or healing as woo woo, and I think that stereotype really takes away the power and the potency of what it means to just come together and relax and feel better. That's not woo woo, that's human, right? And there's all of these ideas that, participating, especially in the South, right? There's a lot of folks that are very religious and kind of have these ideas that going and doing something that is labeled quote unquote healing might be going against what their religion teaches. And I'm just here to say that's actually, I think, that's false, because we're in alignment with anyone's faith and belief and whoever higher power, or this is not about religion or woo. It's about humanity. It is about coming together and experiencing art and music and connection. And that's a very human thing. And I just think that it's important to talk about that, because that's too woo woo. It's actually, no, it's human, like come hang out, back in touch with your humanity and, feel better. And that's like, if we distill it down all the way down to like its basic common denominator, that's what it's about.
Yeah, no ideology, no politics. You leave it at the door.
Yeah.
Right. And it sounds like it's great for men, women, young and old.
Absolutely.
Anyone and everybody to just tap into that free-flowing spirit, creativity, and
absolutely.
just
yeah. And we've had some folks, I think in general, everyone knows that, commonly women tend to be more attracted to, or maybe people, not just women, but people who don't fall into the category of traditional male gender role. And especially in the South, men are taught, suck it up, don't be vulnerable, be a man, don't have,
go to NASCAR. You don't want to go to Honey Gold.
And it's unfortunate because I think a lot of men, but everybody, are struggling around having a place to express and feel and let some of this stuff go. And I've noticed that there's been some guys that have come to the shows that would never go to, maybe even never even go to therapy or anything like that, and have told me after the fact, like, I had no idea what I was in for, but that was amazing. I feel so much better. This one guy went on a whole journey. He was able to connect with his grandmother and forgive his mom. And this is a 30-year-old guy from Baton Rouge that doesn't know anything about alternative healing work. And he just came and had his own experience and loved it. And that's what it's all about. We're not telling anyone how to be, or we're just creating a place for them to reconnect with themselves.
That's the heart of art. in ways, which
Right.
is it
Yeah.
circumvents the everyday and it taps into people's heart and soul in a way that's direct, eliminate prejudice and bias, preconceived notions, and ideally get the brain to shut down a little bit. Like, shut
Right.
up already and just tap into what you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea. I mean, at its core, what we're doing is as old as humanity itself. You know, just gathering, you know, around some songs and relaxing, releasing a little bit.
You
Yeah.
guys have just updated from the fire pit in the cave in France to
We're just working our way back to that.
Yeah.
yeah, that's an even better way of looking at it. It's like we've had like 60,000 years of history, and now we just need to get back to basics. So you guys are helping us along. How did you guys spread the word about your original show? So it's really busy out there. Everyone's really busy. That's part of the problem. Just getting attention, marketing. How did you guys promote your first shows? How are you promoting the upcoming ones? And how do you integrate that into your lives as artists? Because half of it is doing it and creating the content and the experience. And as a writer and a podcaster, I know too that just getting noticed in this crazy world is so hard to do, and it's often antithetical to the content itself, right? So you guys are doing this spontaneous, feel good show, and then at the same time you have to be like the road runner with the sign, meet me,
Right.
come see us, right? How do you balance those two?
Well, let's see, delegating tasks, you know, like where I'm not suited to the content creator self promotion, come watch me play type. I'll play anything, I'll go anywhere and do it, but it's hard for me to ask people to come see it. And so she's really great at getting the word out and getting in touch with the right people, you know, and we are sponsored physically by the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge, so that helps us here
They help us with marketing
a lot.
Yeah.
But you guys created that relationship. It didn't just fall out of the sky.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you asked that question because we were just talking about how we're really looking forward to having the resources to hire a team to be able to help us with that stuff. It can be a lot to be the artist and the web designer and the flyer maker and the marketing and support person, and that's kind of a role. It's a role that I'm really comfortable in, that I have a lot of experience in, that I can do well ish, you know, but it takes away from my focus of practicing my vocals and being in the studio with Taylor. And but I'm happy to do it. And you know, we split up. Taylor's learning Ableton Live. He's learning how to do things in that software that I don't know how to do, that I don't have the time to learn. So I go do the newsletters. He learns the software. We come back together. We get in the studio and we work it out. But if anybody wants to find us on social media or on the web, you can go to honeygoldexperience.com.
Yeah, and look in the description below. I'll put in all your links and stuff. So
yeah,
people
Honey Gold Experience on Instagram. And we'd love if anyone could follow us. And we're building our Instagram right now. It's brand new. This is a brand new project. So we're just getting our legs and starting to get some momentum going in the virtual content world.
Right.
Yeah. So.
But
well,
yeah,
it's fun to feature you guys. You know, I've had all sorts of people on the podcast. I had probably the most famous one is Lawrence Juber, who was Paul McCartney's guitar player. I had him on last month. You know, and he's like, I'm like, ooh, I'm like 1 degree of separation from Ringo and John and Paul and everybody, and that was a great experience. But I'm having a great time helping to promote you guys because I think it's wonderful to to be DIY and just go for it. A lot of people want to do what you guys are doing, which is like, I want to be an artist. I want to put on a show. I want to be in a band. And it's easy to get distracted and to make excuses and whatever. But it's great that you're doing it. And that's like 90% of it, which is just, instead of just thinking about it and hoping for it, it's putting it into practice and having the wherewithal and courage just to throw it out there. So it's great.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just kind of like, I'm real comfortable just jumping off the cliff and then figuring out later. Taylor's been a good sport of like kind of me dragging him off the cliff sometimes, and he's like, I don't know, and I'm like, well, we're doing it, and then he steps up and we do it, and it's wonderful. And it's just a reminder that taking creative risks can be really good for lots of reasons.
It's a field of dreams sort of scenario. If you build it, like, they will come. Like, if you put the show on, it's a risk to rent out a large venue and put all this work into something and maybe not sell all the tickets you want, or just break even, but you really have to push that aside and just go for it and know that you're doing something that's worthwhile. And you have to convince people that it is, and you have to show up and do a good job.
The first people you got to convince is yourselves.
That's the hardest part.
And that's the hardest part. Well, everyone's got an imposter syndrome in one form or another, because we all start like this big. we gotta start somewhere and go forward. But it's just believing in yourself and thinking that your stuff is good and that you're out there contributing. And then the rest is just go code. And then you guys have a nice relationship as a couple. As you're mentioning, you complement each other's skill sets. So there are a lot of artists like you, Taylor, where I could jam all day long on multiple instruments and with different groups of people, and it's just coming out nonstop. But ask me to like put a sign up or tell people to come see me. I mean, that's like a different part of the brain. That's a different skill set. And then, Sariah might be like, hey, try this, do that. And then two of you together are almost greater than the sum of their parts in terms of blending and adding to each other's natural abilities. And that's cool to see.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds, because it doesn't seem like, Taylor, you woke up yesterday and you started playing a bunch of instruments, and Sariah, it doesn't sound like you woke up on Tuesday morning and decided you wanted to be an artist. So can you give our viewers and listeners a little bit of background? What was going on pre Honey Gold? And don't forget to tell us about the cool mural behind you too.
Oh, okay.
for those on YouTube watching us, it's kind of cool, and I understand there's some history there too.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Well, I wish I could say that I painted that myself. But
I thought so when I first saw it. I was like, wow, that's
just take credit. As you can tell, I'm an incredible interior decorator with my hostage background here.
Yeah, well, I think, a lot of folks, I think we're all artists. We all have that, as humans, the ability to express ourselves creatively. Maybe some are on a different side of the spectrum than others. Like, I've always been into performing and creating since I was a kid. And my mom, I was born and raised in Baton Rouge. My mom was an artist. She was a local blues singer, and she was like a bright, wild light, burned out a little bit too early through some bad choices. And
good for her. That's the artist at heart, right? Don't go halfway.
Yeah. So she was a big deal around town in the 80s and 90s. And, I moved to California when I was 21, spent most of my adult life in California. And then when she passed away in 2022, I unexpectedly bought this house in Baton Rouge. That's a whole long story for another time. But I ended up with this house, which was a huge blessing. And I was gonna just rent it out as an investment and go back to California. But circumstances conspired to keep me here. And I love interior decorating. It's one of my hobbies. I really got into it during the pandemic. And I finally had like my own place to decorate. And so this mural came out of my process of decorating my house after my mom passed away. I feel like I really took a lot of grief and sadness and challenges that I had with her and her experience and transformed that into something beautiful through creating this home. And during that time, I started singing at the local blues jam where she used to sing. And I got embraced by a lot of the local musicians who knew her, and really suddenly just had this creative life here in Baton Rouge that I didn't have in the Bay Area, because there's a huge live music scene here and jam scene. And that's when I met Taylor. I met him at the local blues jam at Phil Brady's. If anybody is interested, it's like one of the longest running blues jams, I think maybe in the United States.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the story of the mural and how I met Taylor. And we were friends. We were just friends for a while. You know, we'd hang out at the blues jam, and then we got together, and the rest is history.
Cool. It's all interwoven.
We have dogs that we have sequestered outside that are.
All right, so we can talk to them too. They're part
Yeah,
of
they're dying to be interviewed.
part of the master plan. So that's cool. And then it all came together for you. And it sounds like it's the legacy of your mom. It's enjoying live entertainment and then putting it all together.
Yeah, it's been a very unexpected journey. If somebody would have told me that I was gonna end up buying a house in Baton Rouge and staying here and meeting my partner and doing what we're doing, that would have been just a wild fantasy that I would not have believed. So it's been a very surprising, wonderful journey, not without its challenges. You know, another part was my background is in, you know, technology and in software engineering. And over the last few years, with the economy changing the way that it has, I've had just a series of layoffs, and it's been very difficult to secure work in that field. And so that's really, I want to say, forced me. It's guided me to really double down on my art and music and go for it in a way that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise, which has been hard and beautiful and all the things.
Sounds like AI revenge too. So when I saw your clip too, I was like, wow, this is refreshing because it looks like people actually put this together.
Oh yeah, we have a pretty strict policy of no AI art in our visual presentation. I mean, I guess a lot of software has artificial intelligence in it, but I'm specifically talking about like just full, you know, that Dolly, you know, AI generated art, which can be.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. It's in music, it's in songwriting, it's in video, and
it's like everything.
You guys are refreshing. I'm not a Luddite, and I've got a bunch of shows where I talk to AI technologists on both sides of this and artists. Yeah. I had the illustrator of Aquaman on. He's a DC guy, super cool. Don Aguilio. He hates it. You can imagine, like it's knocking on his office door, and he's personally threatened by it. So I've had all points of view, and you know, AI is something we all need to live with and adapt to, and it's got some useful tools. But just vis-a-vis your work, it's refreshing because it's super duper human. You got a bunch of real people in a real event. You got real people creating real content, and you got real engagement between real people. And the screens are up there projecting your stuff, but it's not your usual digital insanity. Right. And that's a good antidote to the times right now too, because The last thing you want to do is set everything up and have everybody, doing selfies and doom scrolling, right? It's about being in the moment.
Right.
Did you left the room when it was time to talk about your background?
Well, it's 90 plus degrees, and
The dogs were
he
outside.
was suffering.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand it. But yeah, so on that note, that's plenty of a good segue to say that I've been playing music for 25 years, and was a visual artist before that. I was a kid. I wanted to be an illustrator actually and draw comics and cartoons and such. And I think saw the writing on the wall years ago when it came to illustration, like with Pixar and stuff, that like, okay, the digital stuff is really taking over and it's much less of what I thought it would be, is physically like drawing and being a part of it. And so I got into playing music because that's just in the moment, real, like everything is happening right at that second, and you have to be fully present for it. So I started on cello in middle school and played bass in high school and jazz band and played in a bunch of original bands and been in some cover bands and stuff. It's a really big scene here, is cover band music here. There's not as
everywhere, I think.
Yeah. And so that's what makes it possible to make a living here as a musician, because for the longest time it didn't seem like it was an option. There was so many other things you could do to actually make a decent living, and I was playing music on the side as a hobby, and it was plenty fulfilling. But around the time of lockdown and such, I tried to change careers a couple of times into things I thought that I might be more comfortable with doing for a long period of time, and ended up not working out. And I was playing enough music at the same time to pay my bills with just doing that.
That's huge. That's
And
like
I realized, like, if I can just pick up a few more gigs, do this a little bit more regularly, and make this the focus, I can actually make my living this way. And then this opportunity came along, and it really, once again, it just kind of evolved with each iteration of it, that from that black box theater where we did our first show for 40 people came the first big opportunity. From that was like the planetarium show. So now suddenly there's an opportunity to do something that I've also always wanted to do, which was kind of make film or movie or even video game like music. Something, because I love film, I love the visual art as well, and I want to contribute to that, but I am more versed in the music side of things after 25 plus years. So I get to perform almost a live score is kind of what it's doing right now, and it's really great.
It seems like a natural evolution of what you've been doing. But again, kudos to both of you. And if you can make a living doing what you love, then the oldest cliche in the book is also the truest, that you never have to work another day in your life. So it sounds like you've been doing that and you're headed toward that. And there's a lot of stuff that you could add on and repurpose with what you got going on. So are you guys going to live stream anything? Are you going to record it, archive it? Do you have plans for expanding it? You've got the event coming up in Baton Rouge, then you've got the one in California. So I know you guys are just kind of winging it, but when you add multimedia and you've got this stuff going on, you're building a social media audience. Where do you see yourselves headed? Are you thinking that far, or you're just going show to show? What is there a grand vision to this?
Well, I tend to be the one with the grand vision and ideas, and kind of Taylor, it likes to focus on what's in the moment and helping execute the vision. And that's another way that we work really well together. Like sometimes I have to reel it in, and he's like, hey, let's just focus on what's in front of us. We kind of straddle those lines of vision into the nuts and bolts of what needs to get done.
You guys are like Rush. I don't know if you Rick Beato on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
He's awesome. He just interviewed Getty and Alex, and you guys are like Getty and Alex.
Wow, that's a high compliment.
Which one's Getty, man?
That's a good comparison, right? Taylor's like Alex, where Alex has an attention span of about 20 seconds.
Been compared to Getty Lee. That's an interesting interesting comparison. I like it.
Yeah, well, at least in terms of the dynamic you just shared.
Yeah,
so, you know, it's like having a short attention span and being super creative, and then the other one holding it together and then being focused and then getting it done.
Yeah. I really can go off on vision tangents. So I think the most exciting thing besides the planetarium film is simultaneously, so we're going to create, the idea is to create that in a game engine that makes all of the assets it can be repurposed for a VR experience. So offering this to folks that maybe are confined to their home, or it's just not as easy for them to get out to go to a theater to have this relaxing experience, that we can bring it to them and they can just lay back with their headset and they can receive the transmission of love and relaxation. And that is like really exciting. So I think if we can nail the planetarium film and the VR experience, which is very ambitious, it feels very ambitious right now, that we will have really accomplished something. And I'm just kind of constantly trying to bring my focus back to that, you know, and really hone in and focus on the live shows and creating this film that can be distributed all over to lots of different people.
Very cool. And it makes a lot of sense. And it's introduced the sky the limit kind of opportunities.
Right. We're trying to make it so that although being a part of it and performing it live is one of the greatest aspects of it for us, we want it to be able to take place without us, for people to be able to listen to it, watch it, experience it, you know, on their own time and their own comfortable setting.
And then maybe eventually we can help other artists do what we're doing, which would be really fun to, you know, help people create their own dome show or something like that.
Right.
Because we care a lot about
Honey Gold, the franchise, right?
Yeah, we care a lot about empowering other artists to do their work and be successful and receive, you know, resources and abundance from doing their work. And I think we're both really passionate about that. And, you know, that's a very long-term goal. We need to get our stuff together and, you know, kind of get to a place where we could really empower other artists in that way. But it's definitely something that we think about and talk about sometimes.
Very, very fun and very on point. Hollywood right now is being turned upside down by indie artists. It's like the two movies that are really popular now, Obsession and Back Rooms.
Yeah.
Those are made by YouTubers. And talk about technology, you know, one teenager on Blender just cooked up some first-person rooms, eerie yellow rooms. Creepy pasta shit. And Hollywood is like, this is interesting, you know, this has got a pulse, unlike Mandalorian, which is like an old tired franchise, and they kicked ass. And the reason they kicked ass is because it's a lot like what you guys are doing, which is young people with a fresh new vision doing cool shit. And it's not like revolutionizing the technology, it's taking the basic tools that are already there,
right,
and building a following and just going for it.
Right.
So I think that that's really refreshing and it's exciting. And
thank you.
We just need more of it. You know, go for it. Shake it up, be disruptive, and have fun. And it's contagious. Because if you feel good about what you're doing, other people are going to feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's been the case so far, we've found. And yeah, and I just want to say too, like, it's not just us. We've had so much help getting this
Yeah.
going from the strangest of sources, even just having a conversation with a local musician that doesn't even live here anymore. He's just visiting, helped us out
Last
figuring
night.
out, stuff last night, just because he knows how to do some of that and we didn't. And people that can do the visual things that we can't do, and the promotions we can't do, all of that. Like, we want the help, and we want to give people the opportunity to do what they do best
Yeah.
on this, with the right intentions. And
Yeah, they say that when you're doing your purpose, like, things flow. And it's really been like that with this project. It's been charmed in that way, where we've just received so much support, and we get what we need when we need it. And we're just, believing that that's going to continue to be the case, and doing our best to deliver on our promise of like a good show with a good experience for folks.
Yeah, amen to all that. I'm a creative person too, so I do a bunch of writing, and I write scripts and books, and I do all that stuff. And I came to the realization that I want to connect with people, because writing is very solitary. I'm sitting there like, and I started all these podcasts wanting to help other people and connect with other people directly. Because we might have 1,000 friends on social media, but we don't really know anybody. And the only way to really connect with people is to talk to them.
Yeah.
And have a conversation and get to know them. So I feel blessed for talking to creative people like you, arguing with people about politics on other shows. But we live in an age where it's so impersonal. And it's so inhuman. So it's no accident the bots are taking over. We're letting them take over because we've absolved our responsibility to connect with other people. And it's great that you guys are so collaborative. And that's a good sign that you're in the right direction, because, to your point, you're not just doing this alone. And you're not doing it selfishly just for yourselves, but you're sharing it.
right.
And that is awesome. So thanks so much for making time and telling us about your stuff. I'm going to have links below for people to connect to your shows.
Thank you.
I'm going to get this podcast out there in time for the shows coming up in late June, and then you're going to be in California.
Yeah, in San Francisco. So we have a show June 25th at Louisiana's old state capitol here in Baton Rouge. And then we have a show at Audium in San Francisco on June 28th, which is another nonprofit organization in a unique space. The space kind of looks like a spaceship from like the 1960s kind of sci-fi. It's got 127 speakers, surround sound room, and we're deconstructing the show for that. So we're going to have the visual aspect in the lobby so people can check out the visuals and the more sound designy stuff that we do as a part of the show, have some snacks and some drinks, and then make their way through a dark, they call it the labyrinth, and they come out into this really cool spaceship room is what I'm calling it. And we'll have some ambient lighting and some candlelight, and we're going to do our thing in there in San Francisco. So it'll be a very different experience.
At the Audium.
Yeah, at Audium.
Sounds great. So congrats again on getting it going. Best of luck and best wishes to you.
Thank you.
And maybe 6 months, a year, we can check back in, see how things are going. And when you're at the what do they call it, at the
Sphere?
At the Sphere. Yes, you saw where I was going at, where you're at the Sphere in Vegas for Honey Gold. Then I'll be like, hey, I knew.
That's their goal.
I knew Sariah and Taylor. They were on my damn podcast.
We're headed for the Sphere.
That's right. So good luck to you. Like, comment, share, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And go to the shows. Check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anyone would like to donate to help us create the full dome Honey Gold experience, there will also be a link on how to donate a tax deductible donation for our film.
Cool. Congrats. And
Thank
keep
you.
it going. Keep it
Thank
coming.
you so much.
We will.
Thank you so much. Hey.